Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm bringing you a second video today. I am sitting here watching my Auburn Tigers. They're beating Tennessee 17-10, but I had an article come across that could not be ignored by the Digital Asset Investor, and I needed to speak about it for a minute. The first thing is that I showed you this in an earlier video, this article on CNBC about cryptocurrencies suffer $18 billion drop in value over 3 years. And I was talking about how CNBC titles this to intentionally make it scary. Well, an article came across that's on, both of these articles are on CNBC right now. And that's important because I wanted to show you the way that CNBC, who is aligned with the traditional financial world, I wanted to show you just how these people operate. Now, cryptocurrencies, I've told you many times, cryptocurrencies, they were like Bitcoin was born right out of the financial crisis. Now, the concept of Bitcoin had been worked on for much longer than that. But I believe that the people who were behind the creation of digital assets, I believe many of them had in mind something that would, be decentralized so that we could be free of some of this control of the financial system. Well, watch how CNBC covers this versus this next article. This is really unbelievable to me. This is on CNBC right now as well. Thousands line up for zero down payment subprime mortgages. Now they present that like all these thousands of people are lining up. If you read the title of this and then you read the 3 bullet points that they have on this, none of it is painted in a negative light. This right here, this one thing, the zero down payment subprime mortgages literally almost destroyed the financial system of the entire world 10 years ago. And CNBC puts this out not in a negative light, but in more of an open-minded type. Yeah, it did almost destroy the financial world 10 years ago. But let's have another look at this. That's more the way that this article is written, and it's presented almost in a positive way. While at the same time, you have an article called Cryptocurrencies Suffer $18 Billion Drop in Value Over 3 days. I'm here to tell you folks, as the digital asset investor, this combination, these two articles tell you everything that you need to know about the bad people that have run our financial world for way too long. And it should tell you everything in your gut should be screaming to you that cryptocurrencies represent the right thing, the things that's an answer to all of this craziness. This right here is pure crazy. This is someone selling to you. Talk about a Ponzi scheme. This is crazy. Thousands line up for zero down payment subprime mortgages. People who can't afford a house, they're trying to put them right back in houses and create the problem all over again. And the reason they're doing it is because the world has been created around this it's a debt-ridden society. Everything is based on debt to enslave everybody in this world. It's a complete joke. It's dishonest. Everything about it is wrong, what's being done and what's being sold to the population. And they are intentionally not trying to sell this cryptocurrency thing. And I'll tell you why. Okay, so I've talked about this several times, but it can't be said enough. Will the next financial crisis bring a boom for Bitcoin? Now, my theory is that this will, I think we have the perfect storm that's a good thing for we as digital asset holders. And the reason I think it's the perfect storm is because the stock market is beginning to collapse. The world, the debt-ridden and this false financial system that we have it looks like it's beginning to collapse under itself. It was just a matter of time. I mean, they did nothing to fix the financial crisis. All they did is put the world in more and more debt. And if you really read what the people say, they know it. They know that they've put the world in a place that the debts cannot be paid off. All of the countries in the world have debt problems. It's nothing that can be fixed without probably either a world war or defaulting and just hitting some kind of reset button. I believe that digital assets are going to be a part of the reset, whether the governments of the world like it or not. But what I believe is going to happen, but before I get there, I want to show you this. This article talks about how Thomas Lee of Fundstrat had done a poll where he went out on Twitter and he asked people some questions having to do with this exact thing. First question, what do you think is the most important macro factor influencing crypto prices? Central banks. Now remember, for those of you that don't remember, in the financial crisis, once everything started to collapse, the central banks were right there to try to prop everything up. There was more bailouts and money printing and all sorts of crazy things that were going on. The number one problem that the central banks had was liquidity. And liquidity is the XRP magic word. I mean, that's the problem XRP is here to solve. So that's an interesting thing in itself. But I wanted to keep going through this poll so I can kind of show you what we're talking about. The second question, do you think crypto prices rise in a recession? 59% yes. When do you think Bitcoin will bottom? It's 44% say it already has. Where's Bitcoin's price at the end of the year? This poll was done in September of this year, by the way. 40% say 15,000 to the moon. Which token of those below do you see as the best performing in the next 12 months? Bingo, 46% XRP. This one I do not understand. Which of these tokens investment theses make the least sense to you? They've got Tron as the number one, but they got XRP at number two. This guy's audience must mostly be Bitcoin people is the only thing I can figure there. But what's important here, and the important part of this is this one. Do you think crypto prices rise in recession? Yeah, that's a hunch on most people's part. But let's go over, for those of you that don't know, traditionally, when you have a stock market crash, traditionally what happens is investors flee to Treasuries. Well, part of the problem that's going on right now is part of the reason that the stock market's getting so jittery is because China owns so much of the U.S. Treasuries, and there's a fear, and they've actually shown where they have been unloading a lot of their Treasuries. Well, who's going to go? Traditionally, when the stock markets go down and people flee to Treasuries, well, if China is making that, if there's even a whiff that China is or could tank that market, who's going to go there? And so you've got a situation, people can't go into bonds because the bonds, this is the largest bond ETF. I talked about this week. Largest bond ETF there's more people exiting that than at any time ever. They're leaving it like a hot potato is what it says. And the stocks are tanking. And so what do you have left? And this is where it gets really, really interesting for you as a digital asset holder. More specifically, here's an article about the stock market's nightmare. More specifically, XRP holders. You got two things left. Well, you got three things left. You got real estate, which real estate's not really where a lot of that money will go because it's not liquid. But then you have two things left. You've got commodities, mainly gold and silver, precious metals. That's where money traditionally has gone when there's fear. But guess what you have now? You have for the first, I believe this is the first time. I know it's the first time in my lifetime, but think about this for a minute. Think about how huge this is. For the first time in my lifetime, you have at this moment in time where the world governments have literally put the markets of the world in a place where you could have the biggest stock market disaster, worldwide depression, stock market disasters everywhere. You, at the same time that setup has been put there, you have coming online a new asset class that offers a new option besides Treasuries, gold, and silver. You have a new asset class that is not just online and coming online, but right here in conjunction with this, the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, it's almost a weird coincidence, almost like some of these powers that be knew that these markets were going to be collapsing, or know that it's going to be collapsing. Well, what do you think about the idea that the New York Stock Exchange, the parent company ICE of the New York Stock Exchange, is opening their backed exchange in November? And right here, traditionally in October, you had, I believe, Black Monday back in 1987 was in October. October has traditionally been, when you have stock market crashes, I believe October has been a traditional month where they occur. So what a coincidence that backed the New York Stock Exchange is opening their own cryptocurrency exchange that puts the stamp of legitimacy on cryptocurrencies, the new asset class that can then become a go-to asset class when the fear trade is on and people are hitting the exits from the stock market, the bond market, probably not the gold and silver market. Gold and silver will benefit as well, just like I've said before. But what a coincidence that is. My theory all along has been that when people truly understand how fearful they should be of what has been set up by these world governments in terms of destroying our world financially, when they truly realize what has happened and start hitting the exits, I believe that they will flow into the new asset class once it's legitimized by the current financial world. Once it's legitimized with that backed exchange, in conjunction with that, I believe they're going to hit the exits. And do you know where I think that they will mostly end up once they do exit into that new asset class? I believe that most of them will flow into the greatest digital asset ever created, XRP. I am the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Auburn is right now, I think they're winning right now. I think we're in halftime now, and so they're doing a replay of the earlier things. So the score I'm looking at is not the current score, but I think they're ahead right now. So pull for the Auburn Tigers for the rest of the day. Thank you.